Welcome to the Zeal Life podcast, where we explore the creative journey through the lens of fashion, culture, and the stories that shape us. I'm your host, Demaya.
And I'm Karina.
Welcome. Let's get into it.
Summer is here. Summer is knocking on our door. I'm not excited for the heat at all.
The older I get, the more summer is like. I don't think it could ever be my least favorite season. Winter is always going to be my least favorite season.
Really?
Yeah, it's my least favorite for sure. But summer is definitely second place, and it used to be one of my favorites. But it's just be hot.
I can see that.
It's be hot.
It's
yes.
really hot. But yeah, with that, what trends are currently like going on? Because like I hate to call us old, but we've lived through some things.
Yeah, we have.
We've lived and we've seen. So, what are like some trends that you're seeing come back that you're like, I actually love this?
Okay, so for a minute, the girls were we're doing the box braids, and mind you, I have locks, but I was in the box braid era, like before I got locks, where like similar to what you had.
Yes.
The knotless box braids.
Yes.
And then everyone kind of switched out of that and started doing more of the bohemian braids, box braids. But I think the girls are over it. Like the maintenance.
The maintenance is.
Have you had the bohemian braids?
Yes, I've had bohemian. I have bohemian braids before, and it's like unless you're willing to pay for the human hair, it's not worth it.
It's not.
You have to pay for the
good hair. Yes, because the shedding, the shedding's crazy. The moisturizing, all the things you have to do to keep it up. But say that to say is that now the knotless braids are coming back, and they're so beautiful. And I don't know, they're cleaner. They're
they remind me of Solange braids.
Yeah.
Every time I get them, I'm like, well, this is my first time. I said every time I get them. This is my first time getting small knotless.
Yeah.
Braids. I typically get like medium or large. Well, no, I never a large. Hold on, it never gets large for me. It's like medium, or medium. That's pretty much where I go. But I did small. I really wanted to go extra small, but I didn't want to sit down for that long.
How long did these take?
Girl, I went to the braid shop, same braid shop I go to in Lawrenceville, and I called. So, story time. They opened at 9. I got there at 9 on a Tuesday. Nobody was there. I was like, okay. So I had to call. And I was like, are you guys going to show up? She's like, yeah, we'll be there in 30 minutes. It took her 6 hours.
What?
But it was just one person. Typically, when you go to the shops.
Yeah, you have multiple people.
It's like 3 people in your head.
Yeah.
Which, honestly, I'm not the biggest fan of. I understand it for time-wise, but I want the same person doing it so it looks the same. It typically looks the same, but I want her technique on every single braid. Yeah. Because I'm the type of girl that like sits down at the chair, and I'm like, okay, so she's using gel and you're not. She added hair and you didn't. So what's the...
You don't want it to look asymmetrical.
Yeah, I don't. And she was like, no, that side's just a little bit... I braided longer versus it. Because I was asking questions.
Okay.
I was asking questions. I said, oh, but you're doing this and she is not. Once the other girl came. Because it was one person who did the front and then somebody else did the back. And then they went back to braid it all the way down. And I was like, she's adding hair and you're not.
Right.
Why is she adding hair?
Why is she using gel? I would do the same thing.
So, yeah, but I love them so far. Like, I'm a fan. I'm pretty sure I'm going to keep them. And just because I think with knotless braids, as you grow them out, they look a little bit more natural, and they look a little bit. I like them like grown out too, like the new growth and like the buzz. I kind of like braids like that.
Yeah, it's cute.
What's the trend for me right now? This may sound random. I love a tan line. I love tan lines. So like this summer, I'm really hoping that the girls bring back like having a tan line as like an accessory, like a strapless dress tan line. I love that. I love tan lines so much. I think Blue Ivy for the Met Gala, she had a tan line and so on her dress. I was like, oh, that's so nice.
I love that.
I remember when people used to do like the shapes, like they used to go to the tanning salon and put like a Playboy bunny, and then they used to tan that like a little stencil. I love a tan line.
That is so funny.
But yeah.
I also think low key tan lines, at least from where I'm from, or like where from my standpoint, were almost like a symbol of status at one point.
Really?
Yeah, because it's like you get to go on vacations. You're coming back and you have a tan line in the middle of the winter, like something like that. It's like you're
going on. It like that.
Yeah.
I think where I'm from, it was seen as like white trash.
Yes. Yeah.
That's what I know from tan lines. It was very much like a. It was just white trash.
I can see that too.
It was just trashy to have a tan line. Yeah, I always loved it. Yeah, I remember seeing those girls. I was in middle school and like the high school bus, and all the little girls. They weren't my skin tone, but they would come with like their tan line. I just thought it was so. That's so cool.
Yeah,
that was so cool. And then as I got older and I started to tan, I was like, oh, I love this.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, I love this. But yeah, so besides that, what's got your zeal this week?
What has my zeal? I've been thinking a lot about. There's been some conversation earlier. I won't say in the year, but maybe a couple months back since this has been filmed. With Emma Grede, and Emma Grede, Bozoma St. John. They're both women, very intelligent, women of color, business women, entrepreneurial minds. They each I've been seeing a lot more of them. I actually got introduced to Bozoma St. John through Emma Grede's podcast, Aspire.
Yes.
So Emma Grede, she has a podcast that I really enjoy. She talks about just going through business, going through corporate America as a woman. And she has several or different types of people to come on the podcast that are in the business space, and they speak to different topics like negotiation, how to negotiate, how to deal with conflict in the workplace. I think Simon Sinek was on there talking about leadership. She really is kind of owning in on all the things that we think about and deal with as women in these work environments, but not without some controversy. And I bring her up, and I bring up Bozoma St. John. I bring them up because they are, for me at least, in my world, on my feed, hot topics around business women who are women of color.
Yes.
And Emma Grede, she's controversial. There is a group or side of people who don't kind of align with her way of viewing things. She got under fire for making comments about needing to be in office to grow your career. If women want to advance their careers, they need to be in office.
Do you agree with that?
I'm gonna say yes and no, only because I've been remote for a while and doing pretty well, but not to say that at some point maybe I need to shift, go hybrid. I don't know, but so I will say, but I hear her perspective, so I'm gonna say I can see why people would oppose that point of view, but I hear why she's saying that, and the idea of proximity and just being visible. Visibility is very important when wanting to progress in anything. You know what I mean?
Because I would say I would agree with her on that statement. I would agree that she needs to be in office. I would agree because I'm a relationship person at work, and we need to be in your face.
Yeah.
Like, so even when she's talking about proximity and visibility, yes, yes, you have to always be around, because there's things that come up at work, and this working in a corporate environment. There's things that are so off the cuff, that randomly happen, that not they look up and the closest person to them gets it, but kind of, sorta. There's been things where, because I didn't answer the phone at work, and I didn't answer the phone, they called somebody else and they did it, and they got it, and blah blah blah, and moved forth. But from from some standpoint, I do think proximity is extremely important. Mm-hmm. And you don't necessarily get that when you're working remote. But if you're traveling for work, mm-hmm. that's something different. Yeah. You have that proximity, you're getting there. So, yeah.
And it's funny because even with remote work, some of that is like being on camera. That's something before this conversation happened, I don't know what it looks like for others who may be working from home. But some companies are more lenient on like, you don't have to be on camera, when you're in meetings versus needing to be on camera. And I knew that I need to be on camera when I'm in these calls. People need to see me. So I can see why that sort of argument around being seen, proximity, all of those things kind of fall in the same conversation. So to that point, I do agree. The only part where I'm like, is that I guess I'm very persistent in the sense of like, I'm going to find a way. Yeah. Like if I'm going to be remote, there's going to be a way, to your point, traveling, just being persistent with like whoever your managers are, building those relationships as the best you can while you are remote. I'm just somebody, whatever I have, I'm working with it to get what I need to, so I just don't believe so much in the limitation of what I can do. I find a way to make it happen. But I do think what she's saying has truth to it. Yeah. It definitely does.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's controversial. That came up. There was also some conversation around her thoughts around her being a businesswoman, but also a mother.
Yes.
And I'm not a mother.
Yes.
You maybe can speak to it a little bit more. But
yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah. Because I'm like, what did she say? It was about being a 3-hour mom.
Being a 3-hour mom. That's how much time she has. After everything she does in a day, that's how much time she spends with the kids.
And once again, I think it can feel controversial for if you already don't like what they're saying. But if we look at the reality of a situation, most of us are working 9 to 5, right? Mm-hmm. When you pick up that kid at 5:30, when's the kid going to bed? At 9. And 9's a late time to go to bed. Yeah. 9's a very late time to go to bed. What's 5:30 take away? That's around 3 to 4 hours. Mm-hmm. You counter in doing homework. You counter in having dinner and doing all cooking. If you're a mom that comes home after a long day at work and cooks.
Yeah.
The thing about it is, I think because she morphed it into only 3 hours. Yeah. But that's the reality. Yeah. So even when people were confused about that, or they did not appreciate that or like it, it's like, are y'all working?
Right.
Because if you're a working mom, you know how much time you have to spend with your kids on a day-to-day basis. And it's around 3 to 4 hours, especially if they're in school and they have... I don't have a kid that has activities after school because she's not at that age yet. Yeah. So I can only imagine you group in... You actually have soccer practice, and you have piano lessons, and you have all of this extra stuff. So it's like, that time-wise, that makes sense.
Right, it makes sense. And again, I'm not a parent, but I understand her point of view on those things, because at the end of the day, if this was a man that was coming out and saying these things, it would not be even a topic of conversation.
Exactly. No, that's facts.
Because that's quite literally how men move anyway.
Yes. You better be happy if you get a man to spend 3 hours with a child. You better be happy. He got probably 1.5.
Right.
He may do a bathroom, and then what you got going on, so
exactly.
It's
yeah. So there was that. I mean, she also made some comments. She was on Shark Tank for a stint, and I think Ami Cole was on there and pitched, and I think she had turned her down and made a comment around her at the time just not being exceptional in terms of wanting to invest in the brand, and that also got a lot of the community upset. And I can understand why that terminology of like exceptionality can be triggering for people. And while I disagree with that standpoint and how she worded that, or even if that's what she said, I disagree with how that was handled. But I think my point in bringing this up is that I'm just, first of all, if we as a community agree that we as women of color, we as Black women, I don't know how Emma Grede identifies. I know she is a woman of color. But if we agree that we are not a monolith, we can all agree that we don't have to agree on everything when it comes to how we handle business. And also, a lot of us have not been at Emma Grede's level to have such robust, opinions around how she does business. It's clear to me that how she has done it has worked for her. And to me, those are the things that are important. And that's why I appreciate her standpoints, because even in her career and how she's kind of shaped her career, she has a point of view. And I think what we forget is that if you're going to be successful, if you're going to have a microphone, if you are going to write a book, whatever that is, you have to have a perspective. And not everybody is going to agree with that perspective. And that is just the nature of life. You know what I mean? That's just living. You know, you're not going to always agree on how we get to a common goal in terms of like us as women, as Black women. It's going to look different for everyone. And so my thing when it came to her and how everyone was just kind of attacking, I just didn't agree with how it seems like whenever there is a woman especially that is in the forefront and is making strong opinions, that we are so cruel and so quick to come and try to tear it down. And I think I'm just frustrated with that. And just, if you don't believe or if you don't agree, you just don't agree. You just don't agree.
And it's like, I think because everything is so polarizing now, it adds to it. Because the issue that I was seeing, like, I don't agree with the Omni Cole thing. Omni Cole. And the issue that I saw was that comment was just in bad taste, especially if it's a conversation after the brands failed. Like, it's like kicking the horse further down. Like, why are we? That didn't seem graceful in that moment. But I don't think Emma Grede is a graceful person. That's the very first thing. I don't think that's how she trots. And then also the other thing that it's really about the stands. Because after that comment came out, there were so many people on TikTok and was like, oh, she's not talking to you. You don't own anything. You don't blah, 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 blah. But she is talking to me because she's trying to sell that book. So you're not selling the book to people that's already made it. You're selling the book for people who have not made it. So she actually is talking to me. And I think, stands never help anything. And people, that was the thing that I had. People were taking her comments, getting on top of a microphone, having on a microphone and making it more hateful than what she could have even intended it to be. Which then gears more hate towards the original person, which is the issue that I have, because we're definitely entering this era of the girl boss again. Like, we talked about this a little bit, but you remember the girl boss. You remember the book, Nasty Guy.
I remember.
Everything, the girl millennial boss and her peak. You remember that, and we're kind of entering that era again. But what makes me so excited about entering this girl boss era is now people of color get to be in the conversation. Because during that first round of the girl boss, she didn't look like us. She didn't look like us. She may have had a rough background, but she still had $5,000 from somebody to get the clothes on eBay and move on. Or even, what was that girl's name? The manhandler. What was her name? Oh my God. And her whole platform was the man repeller. I think
I don't know if I'm familiar with that one.
But it was like a Nasty Guy, but her whole platform was based off of like this edgy, like men like don't need to like me type of situation, and she transformed herself into a girl boss. And I think she said something crazy which got her like canceled, but it was years and years. But I said to say that as we see like the Emma and we have these conversations, it's very interesting how I wonder how this era of girl boss is going to go. Because it seems like it's the more vocal women, the more like, oh, I said what I said and this is it. Yeah. Those women are the ones that are going to be leading that charge. So I'm interested into how that is incorporated within the day-to-day women that we work in, that we run into at corporate America. I'm really interested to see how those two intersect and how people actually adapt the advice that they're giving into their day-to-day life.
Yeah, same. Because, to your point, we talked a little bit about it in the last episode, but I just love that they give themselves permission to say what they want and live the way they want and stand 10 toes on their perspectives, even if I don't always agree. I love and can respect that. Yeah, I can respect that. And that's what I pull from. Yeah. That's why when I watch somebody who I may agree with or not agree with, whatever, I'm pulling from that. I'm learning from the idea of like, she's standing on business, so you should too on what it is that you believe in and what your perspective is. And so to me, that's the most important thing.
Yes.
What has your Zeal this week?
So this week, what I've really been focusing on and I guess researching has been sustainable brands. Yeah. And what's happening in that world? Like, what exactly is going on? So this year, two things happened. First thing is Allbirds, which is a company that makes like, I'm pretty sure it was wool shoes. They make like 100% wool shoes, right? So the byproduct of that is now you're a sustainable brand.
Yeah.
Right? It wasn't first, it was second, based off of the products that they were selling. They got turned into an AI company. They were bought out, turned into an AI company called New Birds, which is crazy.
That is wild.
It's the fact that they kept some of their original name makes me upset. Like it makes me upset because it feels like a FU.
Yeah.
It feels like a big FU. So we have them, and they're now an AI company that's helping other AI companies. So they use so many GPUs. Like when they released their statement, they were like, we're going to have GPUs that do this and move the GPUs over here and take the copper dot and move it over here. Using all these words. Yeah. Nobody knows what you're talking about. Right. So then you do some more research and you're realizing they're just building other data centers and building chips that help people train their AI to do better.
Right.
That's all we're doing.
Right.
So that, and then after that, this year, Everlane was sold to Shein, which was like it was like a huge, I can't think of that white man with the blonde hair face, and he was just like, he was blinking like 3 times.
Yeah,
that's how it felt.
Yeah.
What am I reading right now?
Yeah.
Everlane is a company that built themselves off of being sustainable. When I say brick by brick, Frankie built it brick by brick.
Yeah.
Based off being sustainable, and that was their whole premise. That was their whole concept. So for them to be bought out by Shein, which is this huge fast fashion conglomerate that makes not good quality clothing at a fast rate.
Yeah.
Like, I can go on and on about fast fashion altogether and what that means and what that is, but what's actually happening to our sustainable brands? Because I think it was like maybe 2025, Business of Fashion comes out with this like quarterly report, not quarterly, yearly report.
Yeah.
And they talk about the state of fashion.
Yeah.
They talk about their predictions, they talk about what's going on, blah, blah, blah. And sustainability was one of them. And they were talking about how sustainable brands together need to build a collective to have big impact. Because nobody, essentially, I'm paraphrasing this, of course, nobody cares about sustainability anymore. So you're not going to get it on this individual level you're going to get it by only being a collective and actually making a really big impact. Ooh. So to me, what that means is if you are a smaller sustainable brand, you're not going to make it. Because that's not, before with sustainability, there was an era where that was enough. Mm-hmm. If you were sustainable, that was enough for you to make it, for you to do what you want to do, for you to have a successful company, and we're not there anymore. Mm. Because people don't care about that anymore. Which is interesting because within that same report, the silver customer was brought up as well, and how people are now gearing themselves towards the silver customer, the silver hair customer, which silver hair, an older customer. And for a company, it makes sense because that older customer is, one, has the money, mm-hmm. mainly has the money. That's mainly it. When we look at our generation below us, generation above us, they don't have the money like the baby boomers did.
Right, yeah. That's true.
And the economy is going either way, so they don't have it. So that's why within like 2025, and still to this day, you see, let's think about that Christopher John Rogers campaign for Old Navy, right? Mm-hmm. You see ads that are multi-generational. You see ads that are the mom and the daughters, or the grandmothers and the moms or the daughters, because that silver haired customer has changed so much. Right? She now feels open to explore how she wants to dress, and she feels more like she has more autonomy. She's on TikTok making reels and blah, blah, blah. She doesn't feel like she has the same norms. Right. So the fact that came out in the same article that we talk about sustainability around the same time that Trump begins to ban these words. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And even though it may not affect the brand, because he's banning these words for like government funding. Mm-hmm. So even though you may not be government funded, once again, last episode, we talked about how mental shifts matter. Mm-hmm. The smallest mental shift within a consumer matters. Mm-hmm. So if your customer is currently being trained to not want to see climate change, or people are removing climate change, they're removing DEI, they're removing all of this type of verbiage within their branding, what does it matter if you're doing it on this side, right? Like, mm-hmm. everybody's mind starts to change.
Ooh, yes. Crazy. No, that's good. And when I think of hearing you talk, when I think about sustainability, and you said something around it being almost like these buzzwords that we start to hear all under this umbrella of like DEI, sustainability, it just makes me think about how we as a culture have commodified values.
Yes.
And it frustrates me because it just spews lack of identity in branding. Yes. And I'm like, if you are a brand, and I know there's something to be said around the business and the numbers, you have to make money, I understand. But at the same time, to me, the brands that to me have the most longevity and that have that community centered around them are the ones who stick to their values regardless of like what's shifting or happening politically. Because we do know that there are businesses and brands that are funded by the government that have to adhere to certain standards, and that's why we saw DEI kind of move along in the past year or so. We see it in fashion, even in the media space where Vogue absorbs Teen Vogue. Yeah. This space where it was supposed to be, it was a very political platform for young all people. All those awards for them people. Exactly. And so then we see this shift in power with the government, and we see all this shift also within media and fashion and technology. And it's very, very intentional. But my whole thing is, if we're going to continue to commodify, that's why as much as I'm in media, I'm very selective on the news cycles and what I chew on for real. Because there's going to be so much that's going to change consistently, and I know that. But I think the things that are going to last the test of time or are timeless tend to have a point of view whether that is in sustainability. Now, I don't think that should be your selling point. I don't think you should be leading with that. It should just be a part of the values. It should just be a part of the brand.
Byproduct.
It should be a byproduct of the brand, and allow the consumers to find that and see that, and build that connection. Now, I understand, again, there's something to be said about profitability and having to kind of go along with the trends or where things are going, but I don't think that you need to change yourself or change your brand every single time there is a trend. Because you will literally drive your brand, and I'm speaking now more so like on a smaller brand level. You will drive yourself crazy trying to keep up with everything that's happening. Oh, we're not on this no more. Okay, I'm going to change my values. We're not on this no more. No, you have to stick to what it is you care about.
Yes.
Because there are people who care about the same thing.
Yeah.
And again, that consistency is what is going to be the thing that sets you apart, because it always comes back around.
Always.
What I've noticed, we may not be talking about it now, but in 15, 20 years from now, sustainability is going to be a thing.
Yeah,
again, it's going to come back around. And if you stuck to your guns as you should, then you'll be a part of that wave or that conversation, and you will stand the test of time. I really think we should be thinking timelessly about what our values are within your personal brand, and not so much thinking about politically what's going to happen or who's in office, because that's going to change every 4 years, every 8 years. It's going to change.
It's going to change, and then what?
And then what? You're going to...
And then what? And then what? And then you've confused your customers so much.
Yes.
That's the main thing. Even if the conversation is just about profit, you've confused your customers so much. They don't even know where you stand.
Where do you stand?
They don't even know what's going on. They don't know where you stand. So that's why, so looking at the time that we're in, that's what I've really been researching, is just where do sustainable brands go from here?
Yeah.
And I don't have an answer, right? I don't have the answer at all. But I'm like, where do they go from here, and what happens next for them in particular? Because right now it seems like there are 2 brands within 2 months. Yes, 2 months is crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I think that happened in April. Yes, it's May. Yes, 2 brands within 2 months is a wild thing to see. It's a wild thing to see. 3 months, whatever. But they're so close together that it's like clearly there's a trend going on. Clearly something is happening with sustainable brands as a whole, and it's really devastating to see.
That is very devastating. And I also wondered too, in that, especially when it came to Everlane and Shein, was that acquisition more so to soften the conversation with Shein being a brand that people are constantly critiquing within the fast fashion space? So them absorbing Everlane is like to soften the brand blow for them. Like, oh, here we are with this. Will they now have like a branch of sustainability that you can? Because we see that happening with Zara.
Sure. A lot of these. About to happen.
Yeah.
I'm 1,000% sure that's what's about to happen. I'm like, they took Everlane just so they would have a sustainable factor. Just so they were able to say that they were in the business, because they were getting so much fire back. But the thing about it is, I do not trust any fast fashion brand that says they have anything sustainable.
Right.
I don't trust it.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're doing behind the scenes, because even with even with H&M, not that's when we start to see greenwashing, because we've seen it before, and they definitely weren't the start. But I remember articles about how they don't reveal their profits with their sustainability platform, or they don't reveal like the results.
Yeah,
they're hiding something.
Yeah.
And I just don't trust a fast fashion brand with anything sustainable.
No,
I don't trust it at all. Just because if sustainability wasn't making that much money, and you're a fast fashion brand and you're money hungry, it's like, how are you going to flip this to make it more profitable? Because clearly they may need some help with that.
And I think what pisses me off is that a lot of the times what you see a trend with elites and people, the 1%ers, those who have the most control over the money in our government is that they will see an opportunity based on what happens on the people level. So if people are caring about sustainability, if people are caring about DEI, whatever it is, they will find a way to put their hands in the pot.
Yeah.
They know that they are in control of most of the money, and they're going to absorb the brands, they're going to absorb the companies. Even when we had a conversation around social media, we see the tech companies, the tech bros, the finance bros coming in and putting their money in the places where they see that the people are rallying behind, even if they don't actually care about it. Exactly. If that's what we're talking about, that's where we're going to put our money.
Exactly.
And they got the money, so they can do it. You know, so
they have the money, so they can do it. No, you're exactly correct.
Yeah. No, this was a good our conversation. We're gonna shift gears just a bit into our main topic today.
Yes.
And that is motivation.
Oh, lover, don't you dare slow down.
Shout out to Kelly Rowland. Yes. Yeah. So this season, we really want to kind of get into that next stage of what it is to be a creative.
Yes.
So we talk about like once you start and what that looks like. Now we're moving into, you've kind of started.
Yes.
It's vulnerable. You've kind of you're putting in the work. Now, how do you maintain that? So I guess I would like to start with asking you, what would you define as motivation, and also what are some of the things that motivate you to have gotten to where you are in your career?
What is motivation to me? What's motivation? My first thought would be legacy. My first thought would be like doing things that I want to live beyond me.
Yeah.
Like, I think about that a lot. I think about, and besides that, one thing that also is my motivation is I like inspiring a lot.
Yeah.
Like, I truly enjoy people talking to me and thinking, okay, because you said this, I went and did that.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my gosh, I love that.
Yes.
Like, I love being the voice of reason or the voice of encouragement for people. And then also, what helps me motivate myself is I don't do things I don't want to do.
Yeah.
I say that a lot. I do not do a project that I do not want to do.
I love that.
Like, I've been asked for collabs, and it's just a smooth no. I don't want to do that. Like, because you asked me about styling earlier. You asked me about styling, and I was like, I did it one time, and I was like, I don't
like this.
I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
Like, we talked about it. I'm like, it's cool on like a one-off, one-time instance, but I'm not passionate enough about that for that to be my life's work.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
And I look at like a Law Roach who's clearly passionate about it. He clearly cares about it. And that's the people that I have to appreciate. I'm like, oh, I love that. That's clearly your motivation. But yeah, and I think also the one thing that motivates me is like, I'm more afraid of like the what if.
Yeah.
I'm definitely afraid to like die or let a moment pass and think, okay, what if I had done that? Like, even in the smallest way.
Yeah.
Even when I'm on meetings and I'm on calls and I'm like, oh, I hang up, I'm like, I should have said that. Like, oh, I should have said that. I hate a what if.
Right, yeah.
Like, I would rather fail miserably on my face and then go home and be like, what if I had done that?
I can understand that.
What about you?
Yeah, I can understand that. And I would say similarly, I mean, what's it all for really if you do not have some sort of impact or footprint here? If people can't feel you, or if they're not motivated by you or inspired by you in some way, and it doesn't have to be on a grand level. It can be the people around you, your friends, your family, your parents, your children.
Exactly.
You know, it does not have to be necessarily your followers. You don't have to have this big audience to make an impact. I do believe that it can be a very intimate impact as well. You know, I think those things sometimes even run even deeper, because those are when you can get those stories that are passed along. And you know, I don't have kids, but I don't know if I will, and you know, but I think so. Legacy, of course, there's your kids. There's also, again, like I've been thinking about that more too as we grow in leadership, and as I've grown more as a leader, that's something that I've been challenged with is, again, me not having kids. The legacy also comes from when you are managing people, and when people are looking up to you and asking for direction. You know, how do you help to pour into them in their careers? What are you giving back to them and showing them? What example are you giving within this space, even if it is just the corporate world, or those things matter. I can remember the managers and the leaders in my life throughout my life from the time I was a kid that have poured something into me. And to me, that is legacy.
Yes.
You know, those are the things that also matter outside of course, your children and of course your family, but in your career, you can have legacy as well. So those things are also motivating to me. Because like I said, as I'm growing, I'm like, oh, legacy is me training this person and teaching them what I've already learned. You know, that's a piece of it.
Because I think about sometimes the managers that showed me what not to do.
Yeah.
That gave me a lot of motivation. That gave not only to leave, but to be like, I will never be with you.
Right.
I will never be the manager that you are. Right. My good lady. I had one manager that was just so, you know, I can't stand emotional outbursts.
Yeah.
And she was so emotional. Like everything that happened, I could see it on her face. I would hear it in the meeting. I'm like, girl, I should not know all this. And I do not care to. I do not care to. And even when we think about motivation, another thing that links it to me is when people say, like, you never know who's watching.
Yeah.
And it makes me think of, like, for example, I like Tyler, the Creator.
Yeah.
And how, from my understanding, there's just days where he's on random people's pages and he talks about it.
Yeah.
He was like, yeah, I'm on this guy's page doing
Yeah.
And I sent him a message. I said, keep doing your thing. And I'm like, what? Like how you never know who's watching in that effect, and you never know who's watching and like who follows you that is taking this and it's sparking something within themselves.
Absolutely.
And so then my question to you is, what does it look like when like you lose your motivation? Or people that aren't, because we had this conversation when we were coming up with these episodes, which is something that I kind of struggled with when it came to motivation. Because you guys know me, I always want to give you practical tips. I always want
very practical, girly. I love that.
I always want you to go home and say, okay, this is how I could put this in action.
Yeah.
And for me, motivation was a hard subject to touch on because I don't think it's anything that I could teach you. Like, I don't think it's anything that I can give you the keys to. I came from the mindset of either you got it or you don't. Like, I can teach you discipline. I can teach you consistency. But that motivation to get up and do it, girl, that has nothing to do with me.
Right.
That has nothing to do with me. So what do you say for people that don't have motivation?
My perspective on motivation is similar to you in the sense that I do think, and we'll talk about discipline in our next episode.
Yes.
But discipline to me is very practical. That's something that it's an action, something that you do consistently. We'll talk about that. But I do think motivation for me is more so understanding something larger than you that is going to get you to do the thing. And I think you don't really know that unless you know yourself and have a why behind who you are and why you're doing it and showing up. Otherwise, if you're kind of lost in the sauce, you don't know why, if you're going left or right, which is okay if you're at that stage. But if you are that, it's going to be difficult to have any type of motivation to do anything because you don't know where you're going. You know, motivation is going to take a little bit more work of understanding what is the goal here, what is the bigger, end goal. And when you understand that, that to me is the larger sort of conversation around what's going to motivate you. I do think motivation can change based on people, circumstances, and seasons. So I may be motivated in one season because and this time I'm in school and I'm motivated because I have to get this degree. I pay for this, I'm paying tuition and the goal is to get a degree. So I'm motivated by the idea of being an educated woman in society.
Yes.
You can be motivated by if you have children. Some people are motivated by that. There's some people who have no motivation or don't understand because they don't have a wire purpose, but then they have kids and suddenly there's motivation.
There's so many
things start
music
to
artists like that.
Yeah.
I had to get it together.
I had to get it together. Yes. A lot of men be like that too. There's a motivator to kind of exercise a specific behavior. Sometimes you don't have it, but there are things or cycles you might go through life or seasons you may go through that might spark a specific motivation. Some people get into car accidents or something tragic has to happen in order for them to be motivated to do the thing.
Like a near-death experience.
Yes, that's going to spark that thing in you that then it's like an aha moment of like, oh, that's why I'm here. That's what it all means, So to me, motivation is something that is more, it has a sort of an external output, but it also is something that is very much tied to purpose. And so to your point, I also agree. I don't think it's so much that it can be taught, but it is something that has to be experienced. And it is something that if you're lost and you don't understand who you are, your motivation just won't be there for whatever it is. There has to be a larger thing there, a larger purpose.
My question is, do you think motivation is connected at all to spirituality? And not the soul aspect of it, but no, we'll say the spirituality aspect of it.
In a way, because if I don't know who I am and why I'm here, if I don't know why Demaya Jackson is here and what I'm supposed to do, my actions or my behaviors in some ways I may not fully have the spark or the desire or understanding of the why behind my actions. Yes. Or and some would argue that. I have people who say, well, I don't think you need purpose, and that, but I would push back and argue that most people, even if you don't believe in God, or if you're not, some people are living for something. I mean, there's something that you are living for. You may attach yourself to a movement or a way of thinking. Maybe it's intellectual, maybe it's science, whatever it is, there's something you're living for.
Because like as you talk, I'm like thinking of people that are like, oh, I'm not motivated, so I guess it may be your why. Like, I'm just gonna lay around all day and like watch TV, right? So then my question would be, what motivates you to lie around all day and watch TV? let's talk about that. Yeah. But because I also, as you talk, it's like if we're all motivated to do something, we also need to explore what's motivating you to not do it.
Bad things. Or to
not do it. Like, what's motivating you to not do it?
Yeah.
Because that's it's all motivation. It's all like this inner drive, as we're saying, like it's an emotional. Because what I'm hearing is that motivation is more like of an emotional connection, an emotional drive. Mm-hmm. So, what is your emotional drive to do nothing? Yeah. Like, let's have that conversation too, and let's get back to the why.
Yeah.
But let's figure out what that looks like, and because then my question is, when you're not motivated, when you once were, what does that mean to you? Like, what does that look like? I'm asking you, what does that mean to you, and what does that like? Is motivation something that comes and goes and you can get it back and you can...
I think so. I think circumstances do change what can be motivated in your life. There may be times where something tragic happens and you lose sight of, I think it's connected to your sense of purpose and being, or a sense of hopefulness. Mm-hmm. So like if something tragic happened that kind of rocks you, that's a great study of like having lack of motivation. That's why people go through seasons of depression. Mm-hmm. Because it's like you start to lose it all. To me, connects back to a sense of hopelessness of like I lack. So to me, it's not what motivates you to not. To me, it's a lack of that motivation because you do not have a sense of drive or hope in that particular season. There's people who go through things and they lose hope and they lose motivation for things, but then again, something sparks, and there is an energy and a sort of ebb and flow that I think in life we all deal with seasons where we're just, I don't want to do this. I'm burnt out. For me, motivation, I start to lack motivation when I become burnt out or discouraged in some way. And that discouragement can look different in any circumstance, I can lose motivation in certain scenarios if I feel disrespected, or if I feel slighted. Like, that's just me personally. Certain things are going to, if there's a specific purpose or goal at hand and I'm here to contribute and I don't feel heard, I'm probably going to lose motivation. If I'm asking for XYZ, if I'm working for this amount of money or whatever and I'm asking for this and I'm not getting it, I might lose motivation. You know what I mean? Yes. Like, I think it's going to vary depending on the person. It's going to vary, but there are seasons where you'll feel more motivated than you do others, and it's just going to be based on life circumstance and where you are. But I do think if you just in your character, if you're just somebody who you've never motivated, to me that is a deeper issue of not knowing who you are, of not having a sense of understanding of of purpose. That is to me where that stems from.
Okay, I can see that, because I'm like, from what I'm hearing, it's like if you lack motivation, I think about everything in systems. There's a system that's disconnected. Yeah. There's a system that's just not working. Because there's been moments where I haven't been motivated to do something, and I've had to take a step back and say, okay, what's not working right now? Mm-hmm. Like, anytime I lack motivation, it's a trigger to me that something is missing. Yeah. Or I'm not doing something, or something in the cog wheel is just off. Yeah. And I need to take a moment and just reanalyze. I need to take a moment to myself and kind of like track down my feelings and say, okay, how am I feeling right now? Like, what's actually going on? Did that know that I got actually hurt my feelings? Like, for real? Did that actually send me back and I was just pretending? Yeah. Like, stuff like that.
No, that's good. And I think, but eventually you get back to yourself because you have a greater sense of like what is all for. So that rejection may knock you off, but then you remember this is what it's all for. This is why I'm here, XYZ, whatever that goal is. So, I think this motivation is an important conversation around your creative journey.
So what would be your footnotes?
My footnote would be, if you are feeling like you are lacking motivation, it could be that you need more time to sit with yourself and understand what it is that sparks joy in you. And you can do that through just being still. I mean, that can be in a form of meditation. Meditation can look like journaling, going outside more, creating a steady discipline that will help you to build a sense of understanding of who you are and what you don't like, what you do like. And then once you can get there, I think you can attach yourself more to understanding what your motivations are in this season in your life.
Okay, I like that. I think my footnotes would be the first step to finding your motivation is to find your purpose and to just live within that and just move forward with that.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. That's good. Okay, we did it, girl.
Yes. Episode 3. Whoop whoop.
Let's go. All right, y'all. So glad you tuned in. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, share, and we will see you at the next one.